Here we go. This is the Daily Freakouts, testing yet again. Insert fancy graphics and things here. Daily Freakout, Daily Freakout. So this is another testing version of a podcast idea, whilst I'm still getting everything connected and things like that. Trying to do a live broadcast via the phone, trying to record, trying to do fancy special effects and stuff.
Joey doesn't share food!
And hoping that those wonderful things all come together nicely at some point in the future where I can do a little daily podcast for the people of the internet. And I haven't set up one of the things that I wanted to set up. But I've just had a look at the time, and so I don't need that right now. Anyway, the world is an absolutely crazy place. Donald Trump is going absolutely insane, making me every day more and more of a wannabe anarchist than ever before, because people like Donald Trump are the reason why, to me, something like anarchy is a good idea. Because anarchy, at least when I say anarchy, means without rulers. It means no kings, it means no dictators, it means no people who can tell you what to do without a damn good reason and a general consensus from the people, effectively. And what's going on in America at the moment where Trump is doing some crazy stuff, and no one's asked my opinion of this, of course, but here we go, because the internet allows you to put out your opinion whether you like it or not. And as a middle-aged white man, I obviously feel I have the audacity to feel like I should give my opinion. Donald Trump, in theory, I just realised I've screwed up something here. I haven't even included... That is... terrible. This is why it's just a test. This is why we're still trying to get properly. Hello, test 1, 2. Oh, managed to unhook those as well.
Joey doesn't share food!
There we go. In theory, that should now work on there. I don't know if it was... Anyway, Donald Trump, in theory, isn't necessarily doing things... or what he claims to be his intent isn't that terrible in terms of making America great again. I don't think America was great in the way they think it was, but I don't disagree with the idea of let's make it more difficult to buy outside products. Let's make it more easy to buy internal products, which gives us in our country the more jobs and more money, etc., etc. That all makes sense to me. And to want to do that and to try and do that makes a lot of sense. But slap a 2% tariff as opposed to a 15 or 20% tariff doesn't make sense in that level. How did I get to that? Oh, that's right. The world is a crazy place at the moment, and things like that are just insane. And looking at even politics around the world, the UK and here in Australia are trying to do bans on kids using certain parts of the internet. And look, again, I don't, at least in the intent and the supposedly noble intent of these people, I don't necessarily disagree with them. I think there's certain things on the internet that kids probably shouldn't see. What kind of effect does all the half-naked women and stuff on Instagram have on a child's mind? Both boys who think that that's acceptable in the future and women who think they have to look like that. It's possibly not the greatest thing for us to have, so having some kind of restrictions on these things isn't necessarily terrible. But am I, as a middle-aged man, going to have to restrict what I look at? But then I think you can seriously ask the question of, should middle-aged people be able to look at these certain things and look at these problems things? No, someone just posted in the live chat asking if I could do a German salute. No, I don't want to do a German salute because I don't like Nazis. Why would I do a Nazi thing when I don't like Nazis? I'm very much a a leftist hippie. I think Nazis and fascists are terrible. I don't know why I would do that. Because I'm a proud white. Are you a proud white? Okay, well, you can be a proud white. I'm not necessarily a proud white. I think that my skin color is completely determined by the people who gave birth to me and the people who gave birth to them and where they lived. The idea that your skin makes you any better or worse than anyone else is kind of an absurd an absurd idea, given that Icelandic people are white because they need to get more sun, and African people are black because they get too much sun, sort of. I mean, that's a basic way of saying it. Oh, okay. Oh, that's hilarious. I did this the other day and I got someone telling me to turn to Jesus, and now I've got someone telling me it's all about ethnicity and trying to be a racist. Anyway, I personally like all people and think that all people are pretty good on the whole. Humans are stupid in groups, but at the same time, we're usually pretty kind and pretty nice people. Recently in Russia, they had an earthquake, as far as I've seen. And the headline that's gotten me interested at the moment is Japan's Fukushima plant workers evacuate after tsunami warning. Didn't they just have... They just had a tsunami at this nuclear reactor, and I don't know all the details, of course, but are they fully recovered yet? I don't know. It again makes me wonder whether nuclear is really the option if another tsunami is going to come through and is going to take out or potentially damage, potentially be a worrisome thing for the that nuclear reactor and that site. At the same time, Japan is seeing a record temperature of 41.2 degrees. Just recently in the UK, they had a heat wave, they called it, and they got to something like the high 20s, I think it was. Like they almost hit 30. And it was quite surprising or humorous, because here in Australia, we hit 30 on a regular basis during summer, especially in some of the northern suburbs. States. I'm in the south of language is not my strong point. Give me a second whilst I... Okay, some coffee there is a thing there. No, Australia should not go nuclear. In some of the southern states here, we hit 30 degrees potentially during summer for a few little bits, but on the whole, we don't get into that temperature. It's fine. It's the colder area. So the English getting all upset as to why, the English getting upset that they were about to hit 30 just seemed hilarious to us, because it wasn't that hot. But when you start hitting 40 degrees, I'm tapping out. I want to go somewhere even colder, because it's absolutely ridiculous. So good luck to Japan and their ridiculously high temperatures here. I should have read a little bit more of the article to actually know what I'm talking about. But again, this is a test of a podcast, so thing. This same racist person has asked about why I don't think we should go nuclear. I don't think nuclear is the future. I think nuclear is, regardless of any kind of environmental problems, like with what's potentially happening at Fukushima again, I think renewables are the way to go, because they literally are renewable. I don't know why you would want to do anything other than something that just powers itself almost. I've got some camping style solar panels at my house here, and I charge a whole heap of stuff with them. And I can power my stereo, I can power a fridge, I can power all these things, and all I have to do is make sure that the system's all connected well and that the panels are facing towards the sun. And as that technology improves, obviously minerals and stuff concerns are an absolute problem, but it's an absurd thing. I don't understand why you would be against having solar panels on roofs and over car parks and you would prefer to have a big nuclear reactor doing stuff. Like I understand it's a steam engine, and I understand that solar panels and stuff made from minerals where we have to mine the land. Absolutely. That's not in question. But the eventual product is so much more superior because, again, my panels on my roof just sit there doing nothing. They just sit there. They're not even set up correctly to face the sun properly. And they still... how is it not renewable? The point of it is it sits there and the sun just goes in there. Like, it just... Okay, if you can say that it's not renewable, but it's still a positive because it just sits there and does its thing. Now, I don't disagree that a field full of wind turbines might look a little bit unattractive. Absolutely. But nuclear mines the land as well. Like nuclear and mining, okay, well, maybe nuclear exactly doesn't mine the land, but those old styles of power do the same thing. And to be honest, my preference is a system where we use all of them. Have the same amount of nuclear reactors that are doing their thing at the moment, leave them, let them keep going. But don't make more of them and invest in alternative ways. For instance, as I said, I've got solar panels here, but I also use the grid. I use both. My lights are currently being charged by the grid right now. And to me, it's the idea of having both. Don't rule out one or the other, have them all. The argument that solar panels run out, sure, they might, but all technology and all things have a lifespan. Activated uranium lasts for however long, but as far as I'm aware, and I could be wrong, activated uranium isn't... Like, once it's created the steam, which has created the electricity and spun the turbines to create the electricity and put into the batteries or wherever, that's it, it's done. You're not then going to... It's not then like an infinite power supply. It's done. Whereas a solar panel, even when it runs out, even if it only lasts 10 to 15 years, it's still sitting there on the roof. Now, obviously, we should try to recycle those solar panels somehow, work out how we can take those minerals and reuse them again. And I've got a cable in front of the chat here. That's why I keep moving left and right, if anyone's at all interesting. How'd I go last night? What does that mean? I actually went to bed early last night. I was going to try and record a Game of Thrones commentary, but I gave up and just went to bed early. I don't know what's that relevant. I prefer the idea of, because obviously solar panels are getting better and better, and wind turbines are getting better and better. I had the idea or the thought, it's not an idea necessarily, you have a couple of wind turbines on your house, you have a couple of solar panels on your house, surely that is going to take out or some of your power supply or the usage of your power, like what power you use, and then it just sits there doing nothing. It just sits there. It doesn't involve fire or combustion or any of this other stuff that causes pollution. Absolutely, the minerals can be pollution. Absolutely, they might not get recycled in a way that you would like. Absolutely. But it's still just going to sit there. And as long as we keep that going... Now, battery technology, that's something that we need to work on as well. Because batteries, you can't just throw them away. They have to be broken down and all that kind of stuff. And they have a finite lifespan. So we need to work on that. But the idea that... solar is enough to power a house. Absolutely it is. Okay, so are we just getting into the definition of what renewable is? So maybe we stop using the word, or maybe I should stop using the word renewable, and I should say, well, straight up alternative. Ah, cool. This guy has a Tesla battery and solar, even though we obviously don't like Tesla anymore. But I love. Did anyone see the RAV4 recently that had a wind turbine on it, and it was using that to power the battery or recharge the battery? So I think what this guy would do was he would stop, hook up the turbine, it would spin and charge the car. I love the idea that in the future our cars have solar panels on top and little wind turbines on them, so that as they're driving they spin and it just recharges itself. That I love that idea. That's a great idea. But anyway, where are we? I don't know where we're up to. This is, how does anyone keep track of what's going on with these things? This is why I'm doing a test, and I'm just trying something to see what happens, because as much as the conversation is fantastic, I tried to, part of me wants to try and do a breakfast radio style thing with this, and so have things to talk about and little sound effects and
Here we go.
and that kind of stuff. But the ADHD means I get distracted very, very quickly. Coffee break. Don't be sorry, mate. Don't be sorry. I appreciate the interaction and stuff like that, because that's how... don't be sorry at all. I like the conversation. That's the joy of these kind of live things and these kind of streaming and that kind of stuff. As much as it's... People talk about social media as all being about attention seeking and stuff, and it absolutely is. There's no doubt about that. But these kind of conversations is the... these kind of conversations is what we need in life. And sometimes you're not in the mood to have them with the people around you and stuff. So why not have them with complete strangers on the internet who you don't know anything about? So it's only about the subjects that we're talking about. You don't take into it, again, you don't take into it race or religion or any of that kind of stuff. It's only the facts and the ideas that we bring forward, because we don't know each other. We don't know anything about each other. And we just say, hey, I heard this. What do you think about this? And I heard that. What do you think? And all that kind of stuff. And so these kind of conversations are fantastic, and that's what we want in the world. We want to talk about things like, are these alternative power sources that we're talking about renewable, or is that the wrong word? Should we be using something else? I've seen a lot of articles recently about how data centers are using ridiculous amounts of electricity. The ones that I saw in particular were here in Australia. The fact that our electricity usage has actually gone up, and even though we're not using any more than normal, and it's because of these massive data centers. And how do we justify these data centers? Because we all want to keep our data, and we all, even though who knows actually what data really is. I mean, what is it? We want to keep all this data. We want to save all these things. I mean, I've got a bunch of hard drives here that I've got things saved to. So you imagine these massive companies that have got even more data saved to bigger, and warehouses full of hard drives, and they're all using this amazing amounts of electricity. Wouldn't it be great if those places didn't need nuclear reactors or mining or as much mining? Because as we said, solar and stuff involves mining. Wouldn't it be positive for us to have these systems more beneficial? Again, the ADHD has sent me off on a tangent. I really liked seeing somewhere that a data center was being cooled, and they were using water cooling for their computers. And then that water that came through was then obviously heated up, which they then took that water and used it for something else. That's the kind of stuff that I absolutely love. If you've ever heard about permaculture, I recommend it, because permaculture says that you don't have necessarily a waste product. You've just got another resource that you need to use in some way in order to maximize the benefit. So if we could find a use for spent uranium, I think that's what comes at the end of the nuclear waste, then we'd be off to the races. I feel like that kind of stuff would be the way to go. If we had these nuclear reactors that were doing all their nuclear stuff, and then the waste product wasn't just put into a big hole in the ground and left to rot over hundreds of years, millions of years, I should say, and we could actually use that, that would be fantastic. And it's the same kind of thing. I really don't think the USA makes tanks from depleted uranium. I don't know. I would love to be wrong. That might be something I try and search today and find out. But that seems, I don't think that's the case. As far as I'm aware, depleted uranium just goes into the ground. But again, I don't know shit about nuclear. I've got no idea. All I know is that I love the idea that a data center that uses a ridiculous amount of electricity then heats water, which can then be used for something else. I don't know what that water can get used for, but I like the idea that it gets used for it because, again, that reusing of our waste, it's like throwing perfectly good compost away. Don't throw your food scraps out, because you can put those food scraps into your compost bin and then use that to feed your next round of crops. Speaking of which, this weekend I really need to empty one of my compost bins and spread it. Depleted uranium for armor plating. That doesn't sound right, but hey, I'm going to take your word for it on that one. But again, if that's the case, good on them. I mean, they need to take it easy on their warmongering and stuff like that. But then, if you don't take your warmongering seriously and your defences seriously, do you then have the chance for people who do take it seriously to invade? I mean, the US could quite likely invade, and has been, the rest of the world for quite a while now. And the pacifists never win in a fight, do they? The Buddhist monks will always be overrun by the Chinese, which is something that we don't talk about now that Donald Trump has taken absolutely every article in the news from us. Defense is important, absolutely. Offense, not so much. But then again, that just brings out the nihilist in me, though, because I don't care. I know it's a terrible attitude to have, but I've chosen to a large degree not to have kids, and partly because I don't want to have to worry that much, in a way. The future is bleak. It's positive too. There's certain positives, but the future on the whole is bleak, and the quote unquote bad people are always pushing and always trying. The bad people have got the drive that some of us hippies don't. I just want to live in the woods and do a little podcast like this and not care. But the quote unquote bad people are the ones that are going to try and push and try and have more land and all that kind of stuff. Ooh. We might not be different at all. Well, I mean, ultimately, I think none of us are different. We're all humans. We all just want to live a good life. We all want to work hard, but not too hard. We all want to eat good, but not too. But we also want to eat a bit junky sometimes. Most of us. I do have to move that cord out of the way. I'm not sure exactly if I bring that forward or bring that forward. I don't know. Or could I just pretend I'm on a ship? Oh, yes. We all just want to live a good life. Jerry Garcia said at one time, we all just want to live a good life, an easy life. And I think that's true. And I think the problem comes when some people think that a good life is something that other people can't have or don't have. For instance, the idea of I've got absolutely no problem with trans people or gay people, but some people think that they cannot have that life and that they shouldn't be allowed to live that way. And it's like, well, if it doesn't negatively affect me, why am I worried? But humanity does, from history has taught us humanity does not seem to want to allow that a lot of the time. Humanity doesn't want to let other people live their life. We are as a whole very selfish, I think. We always want to do our thing and our way of doing it. But anyway, it has now come to the end I'm trying to keep these to about a half hour. And again, still just testing out, having talking points on my iPad over here, but interacting with people who are wonderful enough to... I'm doing it again. Tribalism and culture, absolutely. We all want to protect our family, and if we think that the gay couple next door are going to hurt our family, then we're going to attack the gay couple next door. I think with education and knowledge, we understand that the gay couple next door aren't going to, or the black couple, or the whatever, any of those ones. I don't think they're going to hurt our thing. And then I come back all the way to the start of what I was talking about, of being a wannabe anarchist, in that I don't think people should have as much power as some politicians seem to have. Dictators like Putin and Kim Jong-il and some of the actions of Trump, I don't know, low power mode on my phone just made it go a bit, I don't know what's going on, because the headphones are plugged into something else. But anyway, thank you very much. Delicious? Wait, what's that name? I can't read the thingy. The, what's it called? Anyway, thank you very much for contributing and talking to me. Infectious, there we go. The wonderful script or font that you've used made it difficult for me. Infectious, thank you very much for contributing and adding to the conversation, even though I started off thinking you might have been a bit dodgy. But yeah, we're not that different. Anyway, we're not that different. I'm going to leave it here. Yeah. Thank you very much, everybody who tuned in and watched this. Thank you, Infectious. Enjoy your day, mate. Let's try and make the world a better place somehow. We don't know how, but somehow. Let's try.